Okay, we are live, everybody. We got to do some business first before we do the next thing. But I'm going to get my Amazon stream set up here real quick. This is one of my work sessions. So let's get Amazon going here. There we go. Okay. So what's the plan, folks? Well, you could say, what's the plan, Lon? Because you have this Azul mini PC in the thumbnail, but you got the Oculus out. Well, the reason is that I got in a carrying case, and I thought I would do a quick review of it for the Extras channel and for Amazon. So I thought I would do this first, and then we will get to the mini PC. So this is for the Oculus Quest 2, and before I record, I'm going to figure out how everything goes into this thing so we get it correct here. Looks like it's got a little thing for cable management too. So this is a shoulder strap. So you can put a shoulder strap on there. And I'm guessing this must go, where does this thing go? I thought this might have been like a shoulder strap thing, but it's just kind of a piece of padding. I don't know what you're going to do with that, but you got some pockets here. Yeah, this was like 30 bucks, so not expensive. And I was using the box as a carrying case, so I figured I would get a actual carrying case to carry my Quest around in. I don't know where this hair is coming from. It must be, I think my daughter, oh, you know what it is? It's my daughter's hair. She was using this, and the Velcro got stuck to her head. These little blonde hairs in here. I'm like, where did those come from? And then we'll put this in here like this, and this one goes in like that. And you got some room for some other stuff, it looks like. That's pretty nice. So what goes in here? Let me go back and look at the Amazon page real quick and try to figure that out. And then we're going to get to some fun stuff, because we got in a power over Ethernet computer. It actually is powered by the Ethernet cable. So that's pretty cool, right? So I thought we would check that out. Let me get our vMix social going here. And we'll get the Gordon thing going. All right. And we got some friends coming in to say hello. So let me say hello to everybody while I do some research on this case here. So Rune is here. Romeric is here again. Good to see you. Kurdish Joker is here. Elvis Frazier is here. Anthony Biacco is here. LG wants to know POE 3D Blazers. I am not sure what you mean by that. But yeah, this is a carrying case for the Oculus Quest 2. I kind of like it. I just don't know what goes in that spot. I must be missing something obvious. So let me go check. Oh, 3D glasses. That could be. Let's go and look at what this Oculus Quest 2 carrying case. So I'm going to shoot a quick review of this. That's the business that we got to get done real quick, and then I will get on to the other stuff. So this is the Akaiku. These are like dime a dozen, right? Like everybody makes a carrying case. Akaiku. You know, with all these weird brand names, you would think that somebody would come along and make something that you could remember the brand name for, right? Because isn't that like part of branding is for people to remember what you're trying to sell them? Yeah, so they've got like all sorts of funky colors. So I got the gray one. There's apparently like a funky colored one here. If you're watching on YouTube, if you click through on the Amazon link, you can see what you got there. Oh, I see. So, oh, okay. So they've got room here. So this is where you would put an extra padding. That's what that's for. So I'm just looking through the sheet here. Here, let me pull this up so you can see what I'm looking at. So vMix desktop capture, and we'll add my computer here, and you can see what I'm looking at. All right. So this is the feature set. Like I said, we're doing a quick review here. So it looks like it's got like room for some extra padding pieces or whatever. And they got some funky colors. I got the gray one. And it's funny, the funky color one, they must have a hard time selling it. It's $1 less than the other one is. And they've got like a compact case here too. I kind of like a larger case. You got some room to put stuff in. Because I don't go anywhere. Like, who goes anywhere these days, right? So you have room. And this padding, though, just doesn't make any sense to me because there's like nothing. So let's see, material. It's a double zipper. I will agree with that. Nice, strong zipper. 900D waterproof nylon. Perfect storage. Hard EVA. I was looking through the rest of the stuff here. High capacity. Okay, so it seems to check all the boxes. Yeah, so I guess you would put like an extra thing in there. And there's some customer images here. Oh, I see what this could be for. So if you have that, if you have the larger strap, it supports that. That's what you would do there. Okay. And I don't, so I have room in the back there. Yeah, it's a nice case. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with this. So I'm going to do a quick review of this. And then this part here, this will prevent your controllers maybe from coming out. It doesn't, it keeps the controllers from coming out, but not the headset. I guess you could, yeah, there's no strap for the headset. That's kind of a weird, I guess if you have the, yeah, let's go back and look here. I think if you have like the, yeah, so I guess this prevents the controllers from falling out, but not the headset. Although, if we go back to the image here, you can see that they're demoing it with the higher end strap, I think. Unless you put this through like this, maybe. Let's see. Let me show you the overhead here. I still think it's going to fall out. Yeah, it still comes out. So maybe this keeps your controllers in place, but I don't see it doing much else. So I'm not sure what the point of that strap is. I mean, the controllers are a lot less expensive than the headset, I think, to replace, right? So, yeah, I don't get that. Unless I'm missing something obvious. But it works with both the Quest and... Okay, so this is... Yeah, so the belt is for... The belt is for the controllers, not for the headset. I don't know why you would not want to secure the whole thing, but, you know, that's their decision. And then you've got the shoulder strap here that will attach to either side there. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a quick review, and then we're going to get to the PC. Does it sound good, everybody? So that's what we're going to do first. All right. So let me figure out the camera angles on this one. So we'll go back to my shot here, and I'll see if I've got any comments from all of you. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely made in China, I think. Let's see. Is there a made in label? I'm not sure. It's not a bad case, though. I was looking for, I wanted something bigger than, like, because they have these really compact cases where everything gets squished in. And this one's got some room, you can put stuff in there. And then you got some pockets on the top. It's just, it's good for traveling around. If if you're bringing your Oculus to your friend's house, that works. All right, so we're going to do a quick review of this, and then we're going to move on to the mini PC. All right. I just got this in today, which is why I wanted to get to that. And I want to thank Amazon customer. That's what it says on my chat here. Amazon customer for the follow. Thank you very much. If you are watching me on YouTube, you can click on the Amazon link and you can get brought right to the Amazon pages where we will be discussing this stuff. And in a few minutes, I got in a new mini PC from Azul. This is what we're going to look at for a bulk of today's stream. This is the Byte 4, and this is crazy. So it has, and we're going to unbox it again in a few minutes, but you can power the entire computer over Ethernet. So it doesn't need to be plugged. You could just plug the network in and be done with it. That is it. So Jay wants to know, can I do a drop test? I will not be doing a drop test, and the reason is that I don't want to break my Oculus headset. I suspect that it will do fine because there is some buffer between where the oculus rests and the exterior of the case. So there's a good, I think there's relatively good protection here. I wouldn't say it's crush proof. We should probably look into that in the review a little bit. Because you could crush it because it's a hard case, but it's not Samsonite. Let's put it that way. So I would just be mindful of that. But I don't think any of these cases, like I can tell you the Oculus case is so compact that you'd have some trouble there. What I wanted was just something to store my Oculus in, and that's what I'm getting here. Jay says, "Can I speak to the manager?" Take it up with Amazon. I'm not dropping my Quest. I'll tell you what. I will do a drop test. If the manufacturer of this case, if they're watching, send me an Oculus, and I will go up to my roof and drop it, and we'll see what happens. How's that sound? And that question came in on the Amazon chat, by the way. Thomas Tobias, thank you for the follow on there, and I want to say hello to some more people, and then we're going to record the review. And who we got here? So Elvis Frazier says that's a bizarre name, yeah, for the case there. Absolutely, I got to learn how to pronounce this. The Akaigu hard travel case. I would say it's a squishy travel case. It's not quite hard, but it's not quite soft. Martin says it's funny that it's powered over POE, but it has to. Yeah, they really emphasize the Wi-Fi on those things. Mohammed, we haven't gotten to the PC yet, but I will give you the specs in a few minutes. It is a Gemini Lake device. I don't know the exact specs, so I've got to look that up as we're going through everything. But it's Gemini Lake. It only has 4 gigs of RAM on it. So that's one of the, what I want to do is just boot it up and see what the power draw is. And then I'll turn it off and see if we can add some more RAM, because it only has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. But I think it's like your run-of-the-mill Gemini Lake PC. But it's fanless, so that's kind of a neat thing, right? Jay Altman, another Jay, says he'll give me $5 if I do a drop test. Not quite. I gotta get we gotta go for replacement value on that. So that's my take on it. Old PC guy says, does Windows 10 work on that Easel PC? Yes, it does. In fact, it comes with Windows built in. So it's fanless. So you could. Here's what's neat about, and we'll get to this in a second. But what interested me about that PC is that you can basically plug it into your network, and if you put Linux on it, you could have like a headless machine that's powered by the network. Isn't that cool? So we'll see. I'm curious to see what the power draw is, because I think my Unify switch, I think the power budget is only like 40 watts. I can't see that thing getting close to 40 watts. It's probably in the 20-ish territory, if that. But we'll see. We'll see exactly what the draw is when we plug it in. But I don't think I've seen a computer with a POE before. I know that the Raspberry Pi has an option for that, but it requires extra hardware. So, all right, let me get my recording set up here, because I don't want to spend too much time on this case. I like to do these little reviews for my extras channel. I haven't done a lot of these lately, but I'm getting some more stuff in. So we'll see. That's a good one. All the Lux wants to know, does it come with, here, let me pull up his comment here in a second. VR case. Save it there, okay. Oops. Hang on, let me pull this up for you. Does it come with the Oculus? No, you don't get the Oculus with the case. You just get the case. I tell you, I wish I had more time to play with it, because VR is a very solitary activity, and in my house there are no solitary activities anymore because I have 2 young children, and every activity that I am involved with, they must be involved with too. So sometimes, as you can see, there's blonde hair coming off of this thing. I strapped this onto my daughter's head, and she plays Tilt Brush. She loves Tilt Brush. And that's a fun one. If you ever played Tilt Brush before, you can paint in 3 dimensions, which is really neat. Okay, well, we are ready to record the case review here. And then we're going to get to the PC. And we're not going to review the PC today. We're going to boot it up and do all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to do. And Robert Roth just popped in. Hello to you. Hi. All right. So let me hit the record button. And Jay's not getting many takers. We got $7 so far on the drop test. I bet you it'll probably be fine, but I'm not dropping my Oculus. I really like my Oculus. I'll tell you what, the Oculus Quest 2 is a real improvement over the one on a number of levels. And if nothing else, it's more comfortable. Like it doesn't strain as much as the other one did. I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Squadrons on it when I do have time. But lately, I have not. But soon the weather's going to get better, so the kids will be, outside doing stuff more. So that'll give me some more time to play around with it. LG guesses we should take some bets on the power draw for the POE computer. LG says about 10 to 15 watts. I think that's probably going to be the range. We'll see what we get there. Andy G is here. Hello. Kotomi is here. Kotami, hello. Flood of Sins is here as well. Hello to you. And Jay Altman, thank you for the follow on Amazon. Yeah, if you haven't followed me yet on Amazon, I'd love for you to do that. That'd be really helpful. And if you haven't been following my efforts here, I am trying to go to space. And you might say, that's crazy. How can you go to space? Well, there's a contest that the entries have ended, but I put my name in for this, which is the Inspiration 4 mission. And I did a video with a pitch on the whole thing. And if you don't mind retweeting this, it would be awesome. Lon.TV/space tweet. And they are picking 4 people to go. For this seat that I'm entering for, there's only 1 seat. And there's only like 120 people that entered. Isn't that crazy? And this is like this is not like some thing where you go to space in 30 years. It's like this year. It's on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft. And I checked in with SpaceX. It's happening. It's like, this is real. And so I think, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Agent 091 says, follow me on Amazon. What? Yes, so Amazon, if you're not aware, and I'm streaming on there right now. So if you go to the link that you see in the video description, it'll take you over to Amazon. And I have been streaming on Amazon for over a year now. They have a really nice live streaming platform. I'll show you what it looks like. So on mine, so I'm not logged into Amazon on this computer, but let me go Amazon Live. Let me see if I can find it this way. Yeah. So if you go to amazon.com/live, you will see. Now, this is not me. This is Tanya. Tanya's doing, she's doing some tech products too. She's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So if you go down here, you can see everybody who's live right now. So here is me. I think that's me. Yeah, so we're watching, this is like meta, right? So here we are watching Tanya do her stream. So this is me right here, and there's a bunch of people that stream live all the time on Amazon. It's really good stuff. And I've been doing this for a while now. It's a fun, it actually got me into live streaming. They reached out a while ago when they were first getting started. And my philosophy is whenever there's an opportunity to be early on something, you take it, because rarely in social media do you get an opportunity to be at a platform when it launches. And so what's neat is that as I'm talking about the products, what you'll see underneath is and I'll show it to you, and I have a shortcut to all my other live streams. If you go to lon.tv/Amazon Live, you can see those. This is US only, but you can watch from other countries. It just won't link to the products won't be linked up. But watch this. So as I change the product, so if I go to that Azul PC, I just select it on my phone, you will see the carousel here update. Usually, there it goes. And so if I had a whole bunch of products in here, it would switch between them as I go. And so it's a great way to reference, what you're looking at. And so if you were like, hey, I could use that Oculus case or whatever, you could click on the case, and then it would take you right into the product page. Isn't that cool? And I think every time a little star lights up here, I forgot how this exactly works. So there's like minuses and pluses, and So you can hit the star to like, okay, yeah, right. So then every time somebody clicks on the link, you see those things kind of going up. So that means somebody clicked on the link as I talked about it. So there's kind of an interactive component to it. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like it. And the video quality is great. The latency is very low. So I found that when somebody asks me a question on Amazon, it's like very, very quick. There's usually like a 30-second latency on Amazon. So, or on YouTube, I'm sorry. So I found the streaming to be a little better. And what's funny is I stream to YouTube at 1080p at 6 megabits per second, and I'm finding that the 720p on Amazon that I'm sending, because like their max is 720p 2.5 megabits, it looks better on Amazon than it looks like on YouTube. It's kind of weird. It's really, really weird. So we'll have to see what happens. So, by the way, some Amazon tweets, or chats, I should say. Old PC guy says, it'd be cool to do a show in space. It'd be awesome. And actually, that would be part of what I would do up there, is I would do a tour of the SpaceX Dragon. Like, how cool would that be, right? And I think it'll probably go, I bet you they'll be up there when they do it for like 3 or 4 days. And I guess they have some, some experiments and things to take up for whoever. So that'll be kind of fun. It'll, in many ways, I think what they're planning for this SpaceX thing, the Inspiration 4 mission, what they're planning is really what the vision of the space shuttle program was pre-Challenger, that you would have these civilian opportunities to go into space, right? And of course, the shuttle proved to be a little too dangerous for that. But I think the SpaceX system is a lot safer. I mean, there's still obviously tremendous risk and a lot of training that you have to go through to go up, but I would really welcome the opportunity to do it. I think it'd be great for a whole host of reasons. And I have plans to kind of build out an incubator for what I'm doing to help other people kind of start their own YouTube channels, because we live in a real commodity content space now. And I think that would help that mission to get, to be able to show that you can start as a commodity content creator and get somewhere. And I have a lot that I would love to do with this business in helping others start their own. That's kind of my track. So you'll see me talking about that in the video that I did. So we'll see. And like I said, there's only like 120 that have signed up. So, the odds are good, and it's not random. There's judges. So I guess got to get to the judging round. So the way it works, I guess, is that from this 120, they're going to go down to 10. And then from the 10 will then be put in front of this panel of 4 judges. So one is like the CEO of Salesforce. There's some really well-known people that are making the decision. So I would hope there's an interview process, because you have like 2 minutes to do your Twitter video, and I'd love to talk more about what the business model that I have is. Because it is a complicated business model, but it's working for me, and I think I can replicate it, and that's what I want to talk to them about. So yeah, so we're excited about that. Let me take a few more questions, and then we will get to the review here. We've got TJ Celtic says, I wish they didn't drop the Oculus Go. I was thinking of giving it to my sister who has only one arm. It's interesting, you should bring this up, TJ, because there is, and I have to find it again, but somebody did do, and it's a nonprofit that's working on this. There is a real effort on VR accessibility, and what they did is they created a virtual controller for Steam VR, which the Quest is compatible with, to enable people to interact with these games in different ways by emulating having 2 arms, for example. So I would look for Steam VR accessibility on Google, because I think you will find it there. All the Lux, I hope you go. I would like to watch the live stream. Yeah, I would live stream from there up there, absolutely. So yeah, this is like, I mean, it's not me that's going necessarily. I would love it to be, but it's actually happening. Like, they're going to do this at the end of the year. So it's pretty cool. Agent 091 wants to know, is Amazon competing with Twitch? Not really, no, because this is all centered on Amazon shopping. So people come on to Amazon to buy stuff, and while you're browsing the product, if you happen to be looking at this case while we're discussing it, then you will see the live stream right underneath. So it's really about driving people to sales, and I think it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. But yeah, we'll definitely do outer space reviews. And we could review the Dragon spacecraft like you would review a Tesla, right? That'd be kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun. Gorban says Amazon owns Twitch. Yep. And yeah, it is using the same technology. Actually, Amazon AWS has a great streaming thing that you can use. And it uses the Twitch backend, essentially. It's the Twitch architecture. And you can private label live streams. You can take that code, you drop it on your website, and you can stream to your own website through their service, outside of Twitch and everything else. They charge you by the viewer minute. But it's not that expensive, especially if you're doing like 480p or something. So I've done that for a few things where we didn't want to have it on YouTube because we were concerned about music and that kind of thing. Let's see here. Yes, I need to look at this topic also because it is not. I've been playing around with the cloud saving on the Switch, but I found it's got to be on like a case-by-case basis. So like every time I load the game up, if I don't remember to tell it to do the cloud syncing thing, you got to like resync. It's just a mess. They have not mastered that yet, unfortunately. I got 3 follows to thank. S. Del Savio, Todd Russell, and Pete Cullum. Thank you all for following on Amazon. Much appreciated. So, and then, yeah, so Thomas Yanfang was bringing up about NASA signing off. Actually, this is not a NASA mission at all. So this is completely SpaceX. So this will be managed by SpaceX, start to finish. And they've been managing their missions right up until now with NASA as a partner. So when a SpaceX Dragon goes to the space station, SpaceX is responsible for all of the SpaceX parts of it. And then when it gets closer to the station and you have the docking that occurs, that becomes a joint mission control SpaceX Hawthorne kind of thing. But yeah, these are completely commercial because SpaceX owns the rocket and the Dragon. So when NASA goes up, they just they're booking seats on a SpaceX-owned spacecraft. But for a while, right before Challenger, remember there were 2 members of Congress that went up into space. I think Senator Nelson from Florida, I don't think he's in office anymore, but he was one of them, and there was another congressman that went up with him. I think they were both in the House of Representatives, and that was the flight just prior to, actually they went up separately, I think, I can't remember. But that was the flight prior to Challenger that they went up. And then there was a Saudi prince that went up. And then if you go back and look, there was a lot of civilians that were going up that were contractors. So they were sent by the company that had the payload on the shuttle. So they were not professional astronauts. They called them mission specialists, and they were trained to be astronauts for that, the purposes of that mission. But they were not part of NASA. They were civilians going up. And I think after Challenger, that ended, and everyone that went up was a trained astronaut. So there you go. Yeah, this is the other question that people have had about the SpaceX rocket, which is the toilet. Nobody knows what the toilet's like on that thing. Nobody's talking, which leads me to think there might not be one. It might just be the good old vacuum hose, which would limit how long you could stay up there for. So, hey, you know what? If it requires a bag, I'll do it. I will do whatever. Whatever they require, I will do it. Just to go up there. I think that would be awesome. All right, let me do this review real quick, and then we're going to get into the mini PC, okay? So, let me get this stuff arranged here. And we got the recording folder set. And this is called the Akaigu Hard Travel Case. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we've got a quick one today. This is the Akaigu Hard Travel Case for the Oculus Quest 2. And And we're going to do a short review on this one and see how the Oculus fits in this thing in just a second. But I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for the case with my own funds. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this case is all about. Now, they call this a hard shell case, which it sort of is, but it is crushable. So once we zipper it back up, it'll have a little bit more structure, but it's not like Samsonite. It's, you know, like a harder kind of fabric casing on it. So I would not consider this to be crush proof. But it does fit the Oculus quite nicely here. So I've got the standard strap on this. It'll also support the fancier hard strap that Oculus has, and you can put the rear portion in the back component here. You could also fit an extra face mask in there as well if you wanted. We'll get the controllers loaded in here. I just got to get them oriented in the right way. So let's get that in here like that, and we can put the other one in next to it and get that going. Now, they do have like a little seat belt for the controllers. There we go. But the seat belt doesn't keep the actual Oculus in safely. So if I were to turn this sideways like this, you can see the headset falls right out, but the controllers stay in. So there's a seat belt for the controllers, but not the more expensive part, which is the headset itself. So just be aware of that. And again, you got some room back here for additional accessories, or if you have that longer strap, it'll dock itself in there. And then they also, on the back portion here, have some pockets where you can put some stuff in. So you do get a good amount of storage on this. And then you just zip it up. And it's got a double zipper here, a nice strong zipper. And I think you're good to go. Now, they say it's waterproof, and I think the fabric portion is here, but I'm not sure about the zipper portion. I think water could probably get in through the zipper. So if you go out in the rain, you might want to put a bag around it or something like that. And now that it's all put together, you can see that it's not bad. It's got decent structure. Like I said, I think it's possible if you had some heavy things on it, that it could get crushed. But it does feel pretty good. I don't think you'll have any issues if it were to drop. You just want to be careful not to drop it from too high a place. It's certainly going to protect more than storing your Oculus in its box or something like that. So you do have a little bit of room in here between the molding of where the headset goes and the actual outer portion of the case. So there is some room to absorb some energy if you were to drop it. But overall, not a bad little travel case here for your Oculus. And I was just looking for something to store my Quest in, and this was pretty affordable and I think a good way to get my Quest stored securely with a little bit of room to spare. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. See that? That's a quick extras channel video. I call those the one-take wonder, when I can actually get the words out without having to do 5 million takes. So that's good. I'm actually having a very productive day. I shot a video this morning, and that one is done, and Jake is working on it. That'll go up tomorrow. I'm trying to get some more traffic for the interview that we did. I want to thank Orlando Newkirk for following me on Amazon. Thank you for that. All right, so now that is done. I'm going to edit that one later. And now we're going to move on to what everybody's been waiting for, which is this one. And this is the Azul Byte 4. And what intrigues me about this is that it powers itself by its network connection. That is cool. So you have a power supply in the box that you can use if you want, or you can just plug it in over the network. Now, what I'm not sure about, we'll find out when we plug it in, is if you actually get Ethernet over this or if it's just the power POE, because there's actually 2 LAN ports on here. So we will find out the answer to that question in a second. And then the power supply is a 24-watt power supply. And that's within the power budget of my POE switch. So, and everyone wants me to say free Britney when I'm in space. We'll see about that. I don't want to get myself into too much trouble before I'm picked. All right, so let's get this thing out on a tray. Nice. You ever watch that guy? He's on, he does military rations. That is a great YouTube channel. So I am going to get my monitor on the desk here, and we'll get the camera positioned accordingly. And I've got this Unify POE switch now, so I'm really happy with it, because I've got every wall jack in this office on it. right, that's the loop, so that's going to go into the monitor, and then this cable is the, and it's so weird to just like, so I'm going to connect the HDMI to get the video out of it, and then I'm going to connect up my little ThinkPad keyboard that I got a while ago. Ugh. I should add this to the carousel real quick. I love this keyboard. Like, I really love this keyboard. It's so compact, and you get the little nub in there so you can control everything. And this is a fanless PC, by the way. So let me I just want to add this to the carousel because this is actually a pretty useful keyboard. This is called the ThinkPad TrackPoint Keyboard 2. So let's add that to the mix. ThinkPad TrackPoint. And we'll add that one to our keyboard. I just looked around and there's like a lot of those little nubs on there. So you can get a wired version of this, and then they have a wireless version, which is this one. And this one does Bluetooth or a dongle, and we're going to use the dongle on this today. And in full disclosure, this came in from Lenovo free of charge a little while back. But I love it. I use it all the time now because it doesn't take up a lot of room on the desk, and I just don't have a lot of room on the desk here, so that's why I like that. A very legal Vader, that's a great name. I'm guessing you're like a lawyer? Are you a lawyer for the Empire? So can it run Crysis? Probably not. Maybe like one of the old versions of it or something, but not anything current. But it's got a Gemini Lake processor. I don't know which one, so we will find out when we turn it on exactly what it's got. And let me get my cable out here. And now, what should happen when I plug this cable in, so all we've got connected to it right now is the HDMI for the monitor. And then we're going to plug in my little dongle here on the side. So the other thing it has, and I got to look into this, I'm pretty sure there's actually 3 different ways you can power this thing. So one is by the power over Ethernet cable, which we're going to do here. I think it also can power itself over the USB-C connector. So in theory, you could run everything from a USB-C dock. So, and I'll show you what some of the ports are on this before we get too much further here. So we've got 4 USB 3 ports here on the side. I'm just going to stick the dongle for the keyboard in there. Micro SD card slot, 4 USB 3 ports, USB-C, nothing on this side, and then on the back, POE, LAN, DisplayPort, Kensington lock, VGA, so you got 3 different display output options. This will do 4K 60. I'll test that before we do too much more with it. And then I think it's VESA mount. It's VESA compatible. I don't think there is a VESA mount though in the box. So that might be, let's see. Yeah, there's no VESA mount in the box, but there are screws. So I'm guessing maybe that's what those screws are for. So it might have the ability just to mount without an extra bracket. But I don't see a VESA mount in here, so I got to look into that before we do the full review. All right, so now we are going to just plug the network in. Now this is not a special Ethernet cable. I just like these nylon cables because I'm always moving stuff around and they don't get tangled up and snagged and everything. So let's plug this in here. Someone's asking what the voltage is. It's 12 volts. So it takes a 12-volt power supply. That's an Amazon question. All right, so let's power it on and see what we get. So I plugged the POE in. Did I plug it into the right port? No, I didn't. I plugged it into the LAN port. So let's plug it into the POE port here. All right, it's attached. And the light came on. So let's power it up, see what happens. I'm just going to add my Spark box to the mix here. All right, it's coming up. Powered over Ethernet, everybody. Yep, it is running completely over PoE. All right, we got some questions here on the Amazon. So let me take some of these real quick. Handheld Obsession says, if you like nubs, then that keyboard is gold. Me, not so much. It's definitely a love-or-hate thing. Yeah, you know, I think what it is that the first PC laptop that I had both a trackpad and a nub. It wasn't a ThinkPad. It was a Micron. I have it over there. And I just got used to having that because there weren't large trackpads back then. So for me, I can deal with it because I'm used to it. But yeah, it's a love or hate thing. Hate or love, I don't know. Ricky says, I once spoke to Norm Thagard via ham radio when he was on board the Mir. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, actually, there's if you want to see something really neat, there's a guy on YouTube named it's called Retro Recipes, and he just did a video where he contacted the space station with a packet radio connected to a Commodore 64. And they have a packet radio repeater on the space station. So you can send data to the station and have it echo back, and then you can see what other people are sending it. Because when the station's overhead, everything it's getting from other parts on Earth that are in view, you can pick up, because it goes up and then echoes back down from the station. It's really neat. All right, so we got to get Windows installed on here. And I got to turn the keyboard on. That would help. There we go. So we'll say English. I'll have to type in my credentials in a second here. And I log in with my credentials because I can download my software that I use to test some things out with. So we'll get going. Now this only has 4 gigs by default. So I'm going to probably upgrade this before the end of the stream to 8 if it lets us. Let's peel the sticker off here. Handheld wants to know, any idea if I can use the USB-C as an all-in-one for power and video? I believe it supports that, and I'll look into that as we work our way further into this. But this is crazy. This is all right now being powered over its Ethernet connection. I think that's awesome. And the sticker came off nice and clean. But in the past, they've always put these stickers on their computers. And these stickers would like never come off right, so now they've been coming off better. Jerry Ristoranta wants to know, can it run PUBG? Most likely not. I don't think it's got enough horsepower for that. Ricky says, I've done the packet thing into space also. The voice was more exciting, though. Yeah, that's pretty cool to be able to talk with voice to them. I think they do pop on from time to time with voice. And I'll tell you what, if I am lucky enough to be selected for that thing, I will be more than happy to try some ham radio stuff. I don't have a ham radio, although I did. So here's what I was not aware of. The Radio League, like the big US radio group, is located not far from me, only about an hour up the road. And they had reached out to me recently, so I might go up there once I get some time. Because I think that might be kind of a fun thing to kind of explore something that I haven't really played with, which is ham radio. You know, I have to get a ham license and everything, but I think that'd be kind of fun. That will complete my journey to being a professional. Yeah, that's right, the ARRL, the American Radio, I think, is it the Radio Relay League? Is that what the... But yeah, they're right up the road from me. They're a pretty big operation. I was surprised. Like, people don't know that they're in Connecticut, I think. All right, going through the rest of the setup process here. And we'll get going. And if you're just tuning in, this is running... Like, the only thing I have plugged into it is the HDMI and the network. The network is powering the computer. That is so cool. And it was funny because this morning I just got done reviewing a broadcast camera, a production camera, that works in the same way. It works over the power over Ethernet. Yep, and so this was in response to Jeremy Barnes's question here. This just popped up in his notifications. Yeah, it's all POE. So while that's going, let's take a look at I'm going to log into my network switch, and let's see what let's see what we've got for power. Like, what's it consuming? Because you got to be careful when you've got this on a POE switch, especially if you have other stuff connected, because I'm guessing this is going to eat up a good chunk of the power budget that I have on that switch, but we'll see. All right, because I think I have 42 watts total, maybe? I'll have to look and see. All right, let's go to back to my authenticator. I forgot I can't transfer my passwords via the clipboard because I'm on my PC here. So let's type in. I have two-factor authentication on everything. So I'm just going through my authenticator here. And you know, I always get nervous when Windows says, just leave everything to us. Everything's going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be good. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, so let's go into, here, I'll show you my, yeah, it's already booted up here. Let's go into my devices here, and we'll just click through on my POE. So I have the USW16 POE is the one that I'm using. Oh, look at that. So, unfortunately, now why would this be? Unfortunately, this port is only running at 100 megabits. I think. Unless I'm, oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong about that. I take that back. I am totally wrong. So it is gigabit. This was another device that was plugged in. So which port is it on? Let me see here. So port 2, hang on, let me go back to my client list here. I will find this in a second. Yeah, the managed switches are really, it's so nice just to know where everything is, well, for the most part, right? Let's see if I can find which one this is. Bear with me for 1 second, folks. I've got so much stuff on my network, so I've got to sort it and find it on the list here. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's plugged into port number 2. So USW16 POE port 2. Okay, here we go. So it is using, right now, so this is port 2, and it's going to vary a lot. So port 2 is running at 6.43 watts at the moment. Now this switch has a power budget. Here, let me switch over to this here. Let me see if I can zoom this in for you too so you can get a better view of it. This switch has a power budget of 42 watts total for all devices connected. So theoretically, this could eat into maybe half the power budget if we're really cranking it. And we'll see about that when we start playing around with it. In the short term, though, let's go, oops. In the short term, I'm going to get the display properly set, because right now it's at 720p, and I don't want that. I want to go to 1080p. So let me just scroll down here and jack this up to 1080p, 1920 by 1080, and we'll keep those changes. That's much better. And then what we could do is kind of stress the processor out a little bit and see what that does for us. And I've got like a little app that I can run. Actually, you know what? This thing is like way behind on its updates. Check it out. It still has Internet Explorer, so it hasn't gotten the latest, or Microsoft Edge, I should say. This is the non-Chrome Edge. So this thing's behind on updates. But let me, PowerMax, that's what I'm looking for. So let's go download PowerMax real quick. PowerMax benchmark. This is like a little tool that you can use. I think it's called PowerMax. Yeah. What this will do is like stress your processor, so you can just run it and it'll just stress the processor out. I hate these ads. They're so misleading. People click these things and then they end up downloading malware. But this is the actual app here that we're going to run. Jay Altman says, my red button skills are most impressive. Yeah, this is 20 years of muscle memory on this thing. And that's why I like this, because I really did like the nub back in the day. And I look at a lot of ThinkPads, so I'm pretty adept at getting the pointer in the right position. Although on my Micron, it would drift on me sometimes, so you'd be doing your thing, and all of a sudden the mouse would just start going woo, up the screen like that. Like that's how it would run. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to run this PowerMax app, and we're going to see when we like completely So we're going to run this for like 5 minutes. And we're just going to run the CPU component. And what this will do is just, here, I'll pull up the, actually this will be a fun exercise because this is a fanless computer also. So what you're going to see here is, and I'll pull up the performance here, keep an eye on where it says speed, okay? So see where it says speed there? So keep an eye on that because you're going to see this thing crank up and then it's going to go right back down, okay? So we're going to start the test. Now watch what's happened. See that it says 2.6? And once it gets too hot, because it's a fanless PC, you're going to see that drop precipitously, as they say. And I'll show you the power consumption here in a second also. So it's running at 2.6, 2.6. Let's see how long it can stay at 2.6 for. And if you're curious, as that's going, yes, now it's 2.55, right? And you'll notice, though, this is the thing to keep an eye on. You know, when we talk about throttling, it's still showing 100% because it's 100% of whatever this number is, right? So it's 100% at 2.5 gigahertz, but it's not as fast as it was just a second ago at 2.6. Now, granted, it's marginal between 2.6 and 2.5. But what you'll see here is that once this gets too hot, it's going to drop. But this thing, this whole case is a heatsink. So I think it's going to take it a little while before it really gets to the max. By the way, this is a J4125 processor. And as it's running here, power consumption is 13 watts right now, according to my network switch. And that includes, though, my POE access point. So let me click on port 2, which is the one we're operating on right now. And right now it looks like it's drawing 8 watts. And that's at full bore here. So it doesn't seem to be consuming all that much power, which is good. So the question will be, like, how does this machine perform over the long haul here? Are we getting, you know, the full capacity of this processor at 8 watts? I think the answer is yes, but I might be incorrect about that. So we will see. But we're still holding steady at 2.5 gigahertz. I'm going to let this keep running here and see what kind of throttling we get. What I will do is we'll run the one of the 3D Mark benchmarks on it next, just to see if it throttles itself. And Jake is on his way to pick up a computer. Cool, it's out back for you. Okay. Martin Paolini loves the track point on the Amazon chat. Ricky says, I never could use those red buttons. I remember a buddy of mine bought one of the first generation ThinkPads and was never able to use it very well. I'm surprised I'm not seeing it drop. We're getting a little bit of variation now, so you can see it's going like 2.5, 2.49, but it's still going. I guess it takes a while to get this whole thing, you know, get the heat to really saturate the whole heat sink, right? So it's going to take a little bit. But it's actually doing better than I thought it would do. Full specs on this, I will put them in the YouTube chat. So this is a specs J4125 Gemini Lake, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes storage. And I will put that and pin that in the chat here. And this is a $249 PC. And now it's starting to get a little bit more warm. So what I might do is let this thing run another cycle, but I'm actually pretty surprised we're not dropping too far here. It's holding steady at 2.5 gigahertz. That's pretty good. Now you'll note that it says it's rated for only 2 gigahertz because it can burst to a higher speed, and it will hold that higher speed until it can't maintain the temperature that it's supposedly that it wants to stay at. This is a quad-core chip, by the way. This would actually work really well as a Plex server because this is an Intel QuickSync compatible processor. Yeah, but it's been holding steady here. Now we've been this test is running for is going to run for 5 minutes, so we'll see how many times it goes. And I appreciate the comment here from Derek. My ability to juggle so many devices at the same time. Yes, and this is, if I get interviewed for this space thing, this is what I'm going to talk about. Because like, if I could do this, I could run a spaceship, right? There's a lot of buttons to push on that. And it's all systems. It's knowing what everything is plugged into and then tracking it all. And I'll show you what I look at on my screen here while we do it. Excuse me, losing my voice. So I'll pull up, so this is my interface. And I use vMix. So this is camera 3. That's the overhead, obviously. This is the camera we were looking at a second ago. And then this is me. And then I've got some things I'm not using here. So I've got a 4th input on my capture card that I'm not using right now, but I have that available. This is the recording that I did a minute ago. This is my looping background. So when I take that live, you can see that it does that. And I can put stuff on top of it. So I do that. B-roll is if I have clips to load in. This is the chat thing that we're running. So if I push the 1 on this, watch, it just overlays it on top. Isn't that cool? And then this is the screen of the laptop on my desk right here, but I have it zoomed in right now, which is why it looks like that. And then this is the screen capture coming in over NDI from the ASUL. I've got this plugged into a Spark box. So I capture the video over the network just because it's easier. And then this right here is that. So once you get a feel for like how everything is interconnected, it makes more sense. And I'm just going to turn the brightness down on the camera here a little bit. All right, so the test has concluded, and it was able to hold its own, it looks like. I don't think it throttled at all. What we'll do in a minute is we'll put the, we'll run the 3D Mark benchmark and see how it handles that. Zosu says, I can't think of too many areas where the POE would be needed. I kind of envision this as like, you could run this as like a headless Linux machine in your data room, right? You could just plug it into the switch, hang it up somewhere, and just have it be like a headless little server or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's actually 3 different ways to power it also. I'm pretty sure it can power over over a USB-C connector too. So I'll try that in the review. So far so good. I am not sure how this compares to the J5005. There was a question about that in here. Pleonasm Rhetoric wants to know, does it have Wi-Fi 6? That is a good question. Let me take a look on the Amazon product page for this, and I will find out the answer to that question. So let me go over to ASUL Access 4. Oh, this is the Byte 4. I get them confused. They have an Access 4, which is their little PC on a stick. Martin says that the J5005 is a little faster and the J4105 is a little slower. So it's one of the many Intel SKUs that they have, I guess, right? So let's take a look at the product page here on Amazon. Let me zoom this screen back out again so you can all see it. And we'll take that live and we'll go and kill the thing here. So this can go to 8 gigs, so it looks like we should be able to upgrade the memory. I'm not sure, though, about the storage on it. Wi-Fi has dual band Wi-Fi and Ethernet port. You know, it's funny, they're very vague on their specifications here. I don't know what it has for Wi-Fi, unfortunately. So we need to dig into that a little bit further, I think. And actually, this has like the wrong processor, because this has a J4125, and they're saying G4440. What is that? This is the Byte 4. It's the same machine. Yeah. Yeah, it's got the POE on there and everything. Okay, here's the, yeah, so it says that. High-speed Wi-Fi. I'm going to guess if they're not saying Wi-Fi 6, it probably doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. But let me go to their website real quick and see if it has any more detail there. I'm just looking through the additional information. Yeah, they don't really like giving out specifications here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's the specifications. This will support also Ubuntu, so you should be able to run Linux on it. We'll boot it up in a little bit. Okay, so it has 2 NVMe M2 slots, so that's cool. At least it says it does. We'll take it apart and take a look at that in a second. It has an eMMC, so it boots off the eMMC, which is the 64 gig drive there, and it's not Wi-Fi 6, it is dual band. But it does have dual gigabit LAN. And then you can have 2 4K outputs. So I'm guessing so there's a display port and there's an HDMI on the back. And I am curious if it can do more than that, so we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so I think it might be updating because I'm seeing the processor running and I'm just having it sit at idle here. So let us go in and see, because I'm sure there's like a ton of updates for this thing. Because it's way behind, yeah. But I'm not going to bore you by installing updates for 4 hours. So I'm going to turn it off in a minute. We're just going to take it apart. Because then I can capture some B-roll and see what you can pop into it. Because if it does indeed have 2 NVMe slots, that's pretty handy, don't you think? Aaron Johnson wants to know, can it run a Plex server? Oh yeah, definitely, you could run Plex on this. This would be actually very good for Plex because it has transcoding built in. Ferdinand says, 2 of these, a USB-C battery with 2 outputs. Yeah, instant cluster, exactly. Just plug it in wherever you go. I have not taken it apart yet, Mark Smith. We're going to do that in a minute, so stay tuned. Good point here from Ed Shin. If your POE switch is UPS backed, which mine is, this would be covered. That's true. So you wouldn't need, that's a very good point. You wouldn't need to have an extra whatever, extra UPS. Jamie wants to know, yes, it can be powered by DC, and I think it can be powered by USB-C. So yes to all of those. Pastor J.C. Seward, this is a very good question because I get this a lot on mini PCs, like why would you buy this versus a laptop? And I think if you wanted something, you know, there's a lot of use cases for these things. You know, if you were, I would say there's a lot of things you can do with this. This could be a really cool little Docker machine. It doesn't have a lot of RAM, right? It's only got 4 gigs to start and you can only go to 8. But this would be good for running Docker containers, I think, if you wanted to do that. You could use it for digital signage. You could use it as a Plex server. You know, you could plug in, I think, let's take a look, because if we have 2 NVMe slots in there, you've got some potential there as well. And the fact that you could, so think about it this way, like you could have this thing, this is kind of a neat concept when you think about it. You could have like external hard drives plugged into this thing, powered over the Ethernet, right? Just plug it into the switch and nothing else. You just have it be a headless server just by plugging the Ethernet cable in. So that's what's neat. So if you're just tuning in, this is the HDMI cable and this is the Ethernet. There's nothing else plugged in besides my keyboard dongle. Power over Ethernet, and we get gigabit. But do we? Let us see. See, it's downloading stuff in the background, so I wonder if that might impact our speed test. But let me pull up the speedtest.net app, and we'll run a quick speed test on it and see if it's running at gigabit. My switch is reporting that it's gigabit, so that's good. And actually, I can see what the network is consuming right now. Yeah, it's not downloading all that much. It's getting pretty minimal stuff here. So if we'll go over to install the speed test Windows app here. Jack says, I've been using Linux a lot lately. Yeah, you know, I've been getting more and more into it because it's easier to get things set up on Linux these days. Mark Smith, HDMI video out. Yes, actually, you know what I'm going to ask some of you folks to help me with, because I'm sure people are going to pop in, and what happens is YouTube, as more people tune in, more people find the stream. So I put the specs in the chat as a pin. Did I pin it? Did I pin it? Yes. This has HDMI, DisplayPort. It's got a USB-C, which we haven't yet tested, 4 USB 3 ports, and the micro SD card slot, and POE, and then a 2nd gigabit Ethernet. So you could even have, oh, think about this one, everybody. you could have this be like a little pfSense router, right? Plug in your POE to your switch for the LAN and plug the WAN into that one. We could try that with my, remember, oh, that might be, you know what, this could be a really fun project. I could have this be the router for my second leg of my internet connection, right? That could be kind of fun. All right, let's see. Why is it taking so long to install a really simple Windows app? It might just be because I'm competing against, there's a ton of updates. This thing's gonna have to spend like tonight just updating. There's so many updates. Intel graphics are updated, everything's updating. Here, all right, so I own this app, good. Install, please. How big is this thing? There it goes, okay. All right. Shapeshifter Blaster Master says if you install more, yeah, storage, it would definitely consume more power. I'm still within my power budget. So mine, it looks like Martin had the same idea on the pfSense thing also. And Frank Cromer says I'm really interested in it to run a Rune server. You're not familiar with Rune. It's a high-def audio server. This should run it. Yeah, it probably could. You got, you know, the Intel Gemini Lake is really good as a media server because you have the quick sync capability and a lot of other cool little features on these chips. All right, so let's run a quick speed test through the gigabit here. May as well capture this footage. Give me a second here. I'm going to start a new file for the Azul Byte 4. But can anyone think of a POE-powered mini PC? I have never encountered one before, and I think this is the first one that I have run into. Actually, I know it is. I'd never seen, when they said, oh, we've got this POE thing, I'm like, yeah. And it's been sitting in a box for, I've been so behind on everything. I'm finally getting caught up. Yeah, so we're running at gigabit here, so that's no problem. I'm just going to record some B-roll of that. And that's through the cable that is powering it. So yeah, we're getting the full bore here. Don't hate me because I have an awesome connection, okay? I fought hard for this connection, and I'm paying a lot for it. And this is only half of the speed that I get. Actually, it's a third of the speed that I get. So there we go. All right, so let me just log that clip real quick. And we'll move on to whatever the next thing's going to be. Okay, so we know that the POE is operating at gigabit speeds. Dava says, do I know Chrome unboxing? I don't know Chrome unboxing. Send me more info on Chrome unboxing. I'm not sure with who they are. Martin wants to know, are the NICs Intel or Realtek? pfSense guys care a lot about that. I'm going to guess that the NICs are Realtek, but let's take a look and see. So I have not ventured into the world of pfSense, but I have a friend who's really into it, so I can rely on him for that. Let's go to computer management and let's take a look and see what those NICs are. Yeah, so a lot of discussion about the POE on the Raspberry Pi 4, which I never got one. So I see that from Jack, and I see that from Ed, and I see that from Thomas. But that's the only other one I can think of, right? And you still need like something extra to do that. Mark is asking, what do I have for internet? I have Comcast Gigabit Pro. I have a whole series on it. If you go to Lon.TV/GigPro, you can get the full lowdown on my, it's a journey to get it. It's cool. It's fiber optic. It's awesome. And it really took me a while to get it because I don't know more than the Comcast network technicians do by any stretch. But I knew I had fiber, and I knew I had something they could plug me into at the end of the street. And that's exactly what they ended up doing. The answer to the question on the NICs, the network interface cards, is that these are Realteks. And I'm guessing the pfSense community probably prefers that these would be Intel, but that's what it's got. Interestingly, the wireless is Intel, but not the two NICs. So what do you think of that, Martin? I'm guessing that that's not good, or is it good? Let me know for pfSense, because that's a great application for this, because this is a nice, I think it's fast enough to handle a gigabit connection. Anthony runs it on Intel NICs at his place. Yeah, maybe we'll do that with this. I don't know if that's bad or not, but it looks like Anthony says it's boo, it's Realtek. Okay, so Ferdinand, you are lucky because you're paying $4.95 a month for gigabit fiber, and he's getting a gigabit down and 500 up. Let me tell you what I'm paying. $300 a month for 2 gigs. Actually 3, but I can use 2 or 1, not all 3 at the same time. All right. So let's turn this off and take it apart. And then we'll do a couple more things, and then I will do some other stuff. So I've got, it's almost 5 o'clock already. Oh my goodness. I have a conference call at 5:30, so I have to be off in like the next 20 minutes, unfortunately. Sorry, everybody. I don't know what happened to the time. Martin says he thinks that the Realtek NICs are more than good enough. It's just that the Intel ones are a bit higher when pushed close to gigabit speeds. All right. So we'll take a look at that and see. Ferdinand says I can work with those Realteks at home. So we'll take a look at that. Labitech wants to know, what is a Realtek? That is the chipset that is running the Ethernet ports on it. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to shut it down, and we're going to take it apart real quick and see what's inside. So while it is shutting down, because it looks like it got one of the updates in there, this thing is probably going to be updating all night tonight. I'm going to go grab my screwdrivers wherever I put them. And where did they go? So it's crazy. I woke up this morning, and my wife went to start making her morning tea on the stove, and we had the stove wouldn't ignite. So I thought, we have a propane tank in the front yard. And it's funny, for the last couple of days, I was smelling like, I thought there was a dead animal somewhere in the house, because I could smell like this smell. It didn't smell like gas. But as it turns out, the propane tank in the front yard, that is basically, it's everything for this house. It is hot water, it is the heat, it is the barbecue, the stove, not the dryer, but everything else, propane powered. The propane ran out, completely out. And so this morning, like the furnace, and this is what was funny, the furnaces were running, but they were running literally on fumes, and there was not enough pressure to provide the stove with any gas. So I was like, this is probably not good to have your stuff running with that low pressure, right? So I turned off everything, and it was chilly in the house, but the gas guy came around 3. So it took like almost 600 gallons of propane. So that bill's going to be, ugh. And they're usually really good about filling me up, but for whatever reason, I think they didn't fill me enough in January, and we had a really cold couple of weeks, and so everything was really running hard. And then down here, I have a split system. And if you watch Technology Connections, he just did a whole thing on that. Don't you hate it when the computer won't shut off quickly? Thomas Yanfang says the next Starship launch is tomorrow. I got to check that out. I will look for that. I will definitely check that out. And Tano's happy with Realtek on his Ethernet, so that's good. I'm going to play around with some of this stuff. Mark is saying that AT&T has 1 gig down and sorta, I guess sorta up, or 1 gig down sorta, for $95 a month. Yeah, it gets you on the fiber stuff. Fiber, though, is good, I'll tell you. Shane O'Sullivan wants to know, are heat pumps popular in the USA? They're getting more popular. And, you know, it's funny because when I was renovating the basement for my office space here, my initial thought was that I was just going to run another zone off the furnace into here, but it was actually cheaper for obvious reasons, to run a split system. So I'm finding more and more people are using heat pumps. And they're, as you all know, they're incredibly efficient. And so it didn't impact the electric bill too much. And it does a nice job keeping this space warm. It's making noise. I got some problems with the thing that the vent arm, or that door that flaps up and down. That's been causing me some trouble. So I'm going to have to get somebody in here to fix that. But it works pretty well. Keeps everything nice and warm. I'm just going to turn it off. I will deal with the consequences later because I got to get on this call in a few minutes. All right, so we're just going to shut her down. And now remember, we were powered over the Ethernet, so we're just going to unplug that cable. And this is not any special Ethernet cable. You can use power over Ethernet with any patch cable. I just like, and I was saying this at the beginning of the stream, this cable I got in through the Amazon Vine program. You can find these all over Amazon. They are nylon. It's funny how like what's old is new again. They're kind of like fabric wrapped nylon cables, and they don't snag, they don't tangle up. They're very durable. And I do a lot of NDI video, so I'm always stringing these cables everywhere. So these are really good if you're doing video production and you're using NDI, because they're just very, very rugged cables. This is a Cat 8, a Cat 7 or a Cat 8 cable, so you could do 10 gig on this one too. All right, we're going to be real quick on this and see what we can do to take it apart. I have a feeling there's a back panel there. So I'm wondering, does it like slide out, or do you pull up these rubber feet? Because they didn't tell me how to take it apart. Or does it just unscrew? Oh, maybe it just unscrews that way. That'd be kind of nice if it did that. Oh, look, they unscrew. I wonder. Let's take a look. You know what's funny on this chain? Oh, look at that. So it just unscrews. See that? They're just like little screwed in rubber feet. Connor said, perhaps the propane is leaking. It's possible. Oh, I forgot to mention why the connection to the smelling of the gas. So apparently, and I talked to the gas company about this, apparently when your tank is really low, you will smell the gas a little bit more. And it wasn't like, oh my God, there's gas leaking. It was just like, did something die in the, you know what I mean? Like the gas has a much more distinct smell typically. So she said it was actually very normal to smell a very light odor, which we did. Okay, so let me get this unscrewed here. That's pretty easy to get into it, right? Just unscrew those little things there. I think that's it, or we have to do something else. Let's see. It looks like there's 2 screws on here, so let's get the screwdriver out, and we'll take that apart. And you know what's funny? The second I start like working on something like this, everybody starts coming into the stream. For whatever reason, like YouTube knows when I'm working on something. And I think people watch me take things apart because it has the potential for such disaster. So it's like watching auto racing for the accidents kind of thing, right? And I did not take out my little magnetic holder thing for the screws. All right, there we go. It looks like that's all we got to do here, huh? Can we just pry it out? Yeah, it just comes out. All right, so let me get, I had like a little spudgers thing that I could use to pry it out of it. Let me get a flathead on this and just pry it off. All right. Oh, so Mark Smith said his regulator was leaking and his tank went empty. You know, I'm going to check, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check the level in the morning and see. They hadn't filled me up since January, so I think that was probably a contributing factor. But I'm definitely going to check to make sure that I don't have a problem. Because we did have a lot of snow and ice kind of out there, so that, you know, sometimes they could put some strain on it. So I'm not missing any screws here. How does it come out? Does it slide out, or is it? Because I don't think I have to undo that back panel, do I? Maybe I have to do that too. That'd be kind of lousy to have to go through all that. Because it's weird is that it shifted when I unscrewed those 2. And I think it actually just comes off. Let's see. So try not to be too forceful here. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how this comes out. Yeah, I'm on an unlimited plan on the fiber. There we go. Got to put the little spudger in there to separate everything. And it looks like maybe it is secured with those screws in the back. That stinks. Yeah, I got to do, oh, you know what? Maybe the whole thing slides backwards, maybe? No, I can't do that. I think I have to undo the back panel here, too. Well, let's do that real quick. I still got a few minutes. Because how bad would this be to have to like say, oh, sorry, everybody. I know we're halfway through getting this thing taken apart, but we got to go. And this is where having my magnetic mat would be helpful right now, if I had thought ahead. Oh, Raleigh said I don't have to remove the 2 black screws. Okay, so that is probably what I did wrong. But the 4 screws in the back have to go then, right? It feels like it's loosening up now that I'm getting these out. Yeah, now it's coming apart. Okay. All right, there we go. So let's see what happens now. There we go. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at that. Whoa. Really? Okay, so that is very bad. Hang on a second. Let me just get this recording going here. I'm actually surprised that this thing didn't short out. This piece of metal was just hanging out like that. Seriously. That's how, like, they had it resting on the cable. It is warm, too. I don't know if this is, I mean, this can't be part of the heatsink. What were they thinking? Oh, my goodness. That is bad. Did you see that? Wow. And Nicholas says, how about an idea like the successful YouTube channel that's we all want to see what's inside? Exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Was it held? You know, I bet you that's what it was. You're right about that. Okay, right. So and that is why I shouldn't have undone those 2 screws. So that's a very good, that's exactly it. So that wasn't like that before. Okay, so yeah, I saw that it had moved, like it had moved before. So that's what that was. So this is for the SATA hard drive. That's what that is. Okay, so, and whoever said don't do those 2 screws was absolutely correct, obviously. In saying that. Okay, so I'm gonna screw this back in. So what this metal piece is for mounting a SATA hard drive. So I'm just gonna screw it back in. I'm guessing it goes, it's gotta go this way. So I'm just gonna screw that back in real quick. That's what those 2 screws are for. See, this is why I do these things live, so that you all can tell me what's going on. So let's get that back in place. So, and actually, that's a good warning. Like, do not do those 2 screws, right? So let's get that back together real quick. Yeah, I was wondering why that, like those holes were, I was like, the holes are moving, but the case is not moving. What's the deal, right? So there you go. All right, there we go. Let's put that back in there, and that will avert future disaster. So now that we are inside of this thing's pretty upgradable. So what do we got? We have, well, this is cool. So this is your power over Ethernet module here, and that sits on against that Ethernet jack. So that's what that's for. That's cool. And you've got an extra slot. And I'm going to put another module in of DDR4. And the reason why we're going to do that is because these little Intel machines really work much better when you've got 2 sticks of RAM in, so you can go to dual channel memory mode. So especially for graphics. So we're going to do that to give it a fair benchmark. Now, it said there were 2 NVMe slots. I'm only seeing 1, which is right here. So you've got 1 NVMe, but you also have a SATA connector. So that might be the other hard drive slot that they were referring to. So I would go with an NVMe and pop it in there and be done with it. But that's cool. So you've got some built-in expandability. So you could put, a SATA spinning drive in here, mount that on the upper part of the case, and then you've got room for a SATA drive as well if you wanted to boot a little faster. And that's M2 NVMe, not M2 SATA. So this is pretty well equipped. I'm digging it. And you got your SATA power connector here, and you've got your SATA data cable, all built right in there. I don't think there's any room on the other side of the board for the other NVMe because it is flush to the top of the case for the heat dissipation, because at the top of the case is the heat sink. So there's definitely only, I'll double check with the company, but I don't see how you could fit an NVMe in that upper portion there. But that's pretty nice, nicely expandable. Very cool. And I have a thank you to Thomas Anfang here for a super chat. Let me pull you up on screen real quick. Thank you very much for your support. Yeah, it's all heatsink on the other side, Anthony, absolutely. But yeah, pretty cool. This is a neat little system. And I think like the whole POE thing, it's different and it works. That's cool. I mean, it's not as like, it's not really, it's a separate module. That's what this thing is that's popping up off the board. But it does it. It works. That's cool. And it's a POE plus PD V20, whatever that means. I guess it's the voltage maybe? I don't know. All I know is that I plugged it into the Unify thing and it worked. So there you go. So I'm going to put some more memory in there. Somebody else asked, is it a double stick? No, it's definitely a single stick. because I'm not seeing another slot in there. So let me go back and check their, because they say on their specs here, I need to write to them and ask them about this. They may have it wrong. I've seen this before where people they don't quote everything out properly. All right, so it's got SATA support up to 2 terabytes, they say. It says NVMe M2 times 2. I just don't see where the other one is, unless the POE is covering it. I don't know where you'd put it. It's definitely only a single slot in there. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Martin says maybe, this is a good point, maybe it's PCI Express X2 versus times 2. That's probably what he means by that. And I bet you that's exactly it. And he says it's Gemini Lake, so that makes sense. So that makes sense to me too. So that's probably what it is. That's why I do these live, because everybody in the chat is smarter than I am on this stuff. So thank you all for helping me avert disaster in a whole host of areas there. And you can see the antenna here is connected with these two wires there. And by the way, this is just because I talked about this a little bit earlier. This would work great as a Plex server. And think about this: like you could have this, hooked up to your switch with nothing but an Ethernet cable and run Plex on it, because that's all you need is the Ethernet cable to power it. I think that's just awesome. That is cool. Jamie wants to know, does it provide POE out? I don't believe so. I think it's only in, but I could find out if that is the case. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about sending POE out. That'd be kind of cool if it did do that. And it looks like the Visa mount is optional, so that's an add-on. Martin uses one of these as a Plex server. Martin Paolini in the Amazon chat works perfectly with, and it's got Intel QuickSync, right? So it's perfect for Plex, totally silent. Yeah, plug it in and forget about it. That's what's cool. This thing's got some potential, I think. And Shane, yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I've got the M1 Mac. I feel you on this one about. They're working great. I'm really loving mine. Most of the videos, so whenever you watch one of my videos now, about, I would say 2/3 of the time, the video has been edited and uploaded from my M1 Mac. Like going back to my other one, it feels sluggish. It really does. All right, so we're going to put this thing back together here. I'm just going to put it kind of together for tonight because I got to go find a compatible RAM stick in my pile of my drawer. I have a drawer of RAM. I have DDR3. I got like 12 flavors of DDR4. So I will find what best will work with this one. And I will continue onward. I might maybe even do a follow-up stream doing some of the benchmarks and stuff. I got to benchmark this thing out and do some of the other stuff. Normally I would have Jake do all these things, but this one looked interesting to me because of the POE components. So there you go. All right. Well, everybody, I am going to go get on my call and get the ball rolling on that. Red Hornet wants to know, would this work as an NDI input if you attached an Elgato capture card to it? I bet you it probably could. I think that might work. Yeah, you could turn it into like a little NDI thing. Although I think for the same price, you could probably get an actual NDI appliance. I think the Bird Dogs cost about $250, if I'm not mistaken. But it could work well for that, because yeah, with power over Ethernet. Yeah, it's funny when you have that added way of powering it, that you can do that sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure the USB-C port is full service on this also. So you can power it over USB. Don't quote me yet, because I haven't tested that yet. But you should be able to power it over USB, over Ethernet, or over the 12 volt. So you've got a lot of different options there. So yeah, this will be a fun one. I think I'll start working on this, finish this up tomorrow. So there you go. All right, everybody. Well, I've got to get cooking here because I've got a call in about 25 minutes. It is with my local Rotary Club. I used to be a member of the Rotary Club until I had kids. I might rejoin it again at some point because it's easier to get to the meetings now that they're all virtual for the moment. But they have, for probably the last 60 years, they had a shad bake. And thank you, by the way, to G. Kim and James Patton for following on Amazon. So they had a great thing called the shad bake in town every year. They haven't done that in a while because of the COVID thing. At least they didn't do it last year. They're going to do a virtual one this year. So we're having a call to kind of brainstorm how we can run the shad bake this year. And I always, even though I haven't been officially a member of the club, I always help them with the shad bake every year. So if I can help stream the event, we're trying to brainstorm some ideas for how to do that. Matt Robinson, actually, I did a video on Parallels running on the M1. You probably know this already, but it runs the ARM version of Windows, and I was able to get it to work pretty well on that. And I don't know what's going on with the YouTube notifications. They're always late for some reason. Really bizarre. But actually, David, if you click on the Amazon thing, Amazon's been really good about notifying people, so you may want to try that too, because that would get you in with a little faster response time. James Patton runs an AM to PM on YouTube and will sub there too. Thank you very much. Maybe I should review beds on Amazon Live. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Amazon Live has been, you should do it if you're not doing it already. So AM to PM is your YouTube channel. Oh, cool. I've probably seen your channel because I was shopping. You do mattresses? AM, let's see, AM to PM. Yeah, mattress reviewing. I probably ran into your channel at some point because I was shopping for a mattress a while ago. I got the, you can tell me if this is a good one or not. I'm happy with it, but I don't know if it's good or not. I saw some reviews. I did my research. I got the Purple 4, and I like the Purple 4. It's very comfortable. My wife loves it. Like, it's very comfortable for me. But I don't know if that is the best one or not, so you tell me. Because I found that the mattress industry is like almost as bad as the used car business sometimes. Because I was following all this stuff, like these people are suing each other, and it's crazy. So James, if you can review mattresses as a good independent reviewer, properly disclose everything. Honestly, if you were buying mattresses and reviewing them, I think you could make your money back, because there's a lot of misleading reviews out there. And then I started reading up on this, like one company is suing this one reviewer because he was actually working for somebody else and like putting fake reviews. It was just crazy stuff. But check it out. Jimmy Kongshoj, hello. How are you on Amazon? Welcome. And unfortunately, I have to go because I got to get on this call in a minute. And Shapeshifter, love the review of the Unify Pro. I got one because of my review. Great, I'm glad you're loving it. Yeah, I've been very happy with mine. I had one issue with it. I had to reset the configuration when they updated the firmware, but after that, it's been working okay. I've been very happy with it. And my network rack is like growing. When it started, I had one switch, and now I've got like 1 million of them in there. So we'll see. Anthony says the Rotary Club is about old telephones. Yeah, no, actually, you should. If you don't, I'm sure you know what Rotary is, but if you don't, it is a service club that was started in Chicago, I believe, around the turn of the century by Paul Harris, and it was initially kind of an early business networking club. And I think the rules back then, and this might be true of many clubs across the country, is that you could have one of each business type in the club. And that was how it kind of started. And they do a lot of good work around the world. They've been very focused on polio vaccination, actually. And they made it a goal of Rotary International to abolish polio. So check them out if you haven't. And what's cool is that there are Rotary clubs all over the world. And whenever you travel, so the deal with Rotary is that you're supposed to go to every single meeting. And if you can't make a meeting and you're traveling, there's an app for Rotary, and you can look up like where the clubs are, where you're visiting, and you can go to one of their meetings instead. You're welcome to every meeting. So I haven't been to too many. I was at the Washington, D.C. one when I was down there for an old job that I had. So I did the D.C. Capitol Club, which was a morning club. That was a lot of fun. I've done a few others around, but they're really cool. So yeah, good stuff. And then James, who's AM to PM, says, I try to be as honest as possible since they send beds to me. Yeah, so here's what I would say, James. The best thing you can do, it's okay, like, I am totally fine with people getting things for free, provided that, you just disclose and say, hey, I got this free of charge, but they're not, as long as they're not telling you what to do. That's the big thing, is if you're free to make an independent review, as I am with this thing, I don't think it's reasonable to expect that you can afford to buy every single bed out there, especially mattresses, which are very expensive. And like I said, I think if you can carve out a niche for yourself, because nobody in these mattress reviews is like disclosing that they're not like getting some compensation outside the mattress. So I think if you can disclose properly, you're going to be in good shape. That's my advice. Because it is, and then, right, and the other part that you have to run into, James, is that you have so many beds, where do you put them? And you can't just get rid of them easily, right? So I will say you're going to be everybody's best friend, because if anyone, like when people need something, they use for like electronic whatever, they usually come to me. So you're going to be the guy to go to for beds. That's going to be fun. Red Hornets, isn't it nice when all you have to do is swivel your chair to go to a meeting? I think it's awesome sometimes. I do miss, though, like leaving the house and going and seeing people. So I will look forward to having meetings again. James says, with so many beds, it is more of a hassle than a gift. This niche is taking over my life. Welcome to my life. Because before you know it, you're going to be doing this full time. I'm not going to show you what's on the other side of this camera right now, because I have a pile of technology that I have to get through. And I'm just never done. It never ends. So, all right, everybody. Yeah, so by the way, Anthony Biacco, check out Rotary International. There are clubs in every country around the world. And it's not some like secret society fraternal thing. It is just people that are, it's what they call a service club. And the Rotaries Rotary has a couple of things that they do. Service above self is the tagline of Rotary International. That's kind of the main drive of it. They do some amazing work. Again, the polio work is the big thing, but clean water has been a big thing as well. My club did a lot with water. We have a local scholarship for local kids in the school system for college. All sorts of great stuff around the world. And what's nice is that they also have something else in Rotary called the 4-way test. And it's actually good media literacy, to be honest with you. So it's a guiding principle of Rotary, the 4-way test. And here's what the 4-way test is. I'm going totally off topic here. So here's a couple of, and again, this is not some crazy fraternal order here. This is just the Rotary Club. They're great. And I'm telling you, like, I know if there's a Rotary Club in your area, they are always looking for new members. And it was great for me. I joined my club in 2004. Great camaraderie. We call it fellowship. And it's really, really nice. So the development of acquaintance is an opportunity for service, not for self-improvement or self-gain, right? High ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Then I got to go. These are the guiding principles. If you're going to join Rotary, this is how you got to operate. And I think it drives a lot of what I do. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. Fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in ideal of service. The 4-way test, this is the big one. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's Rotary. So, and now I'm going to go talk to Rotary. I got 15 minutes, so I'm going to grab a quick snack. And then I'm going to hop on my Rotary call. All right. And we'll get, I don't know if they do anything on climate change, Shane. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But all I'll say is that I wish I had more time to do the Rotary because I really didn't. We had mine was a dinner club, so we would do every Tuesday night. And then when the kids came around, had kids, it was just hard to get out of the house for Tuesday at 6. So you had to be, you got to be there like on time. So you could be there from like 5:45 or so to about 8:30. So it wasn't too late, but it just was right through the bedtime dinner routine, so it was hard. But some clubs meet in the morning, some meet at lunchtime. I'm sure most clubs now are virtual. So yeah, I got to get back into it. I'm going to talk to them tonight about that. Okay, everybody, I am going to get on this call. All right, so have a good evening. Maybe I'll take the dog out for a walk and then I'll get on the call. I got 15 minutes. I can make it work. Okay, everybody, I will catch you all very soon, and thank you for tuning in. Nice meeting you, James Patton. Yeah, definitely give a follow, and I'm happy to, if you have questions or need advice on some of this stuff, just email me at Lon.TV. Happy to help out somebody looking to do things the right way, which is being upfront, honest, and ethical about where your stuff comes from. And it's not hard to do. Okay, everybody, talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.